Good evening, everybody. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody's doing well this evening. It's just after midnight on October 2nd, 2024. I actually started recording this and recorded almost 5 minutes, and then one of my alarms went off on my phone and we just got disconnected. So I have to start all over. But anyway, before I start, we're going to do sharing a testimony story. I've been receiving a lot of email from you guys lately, especially after the interview with Richard Moore. And everybody has pretty much said the same thing. They thanked me for doing the interview and everything, but they were very upset that I kept getting interrupted. I was getting a little upset that I was interrupted so much because, you lose your train of thought, especially when you're on a roll. And if you're a real targeted person, you're interrupted 24/7 between prank phone calls, knocks on your door, stalking, harassment, stupid neighbors driving by, dumping toilet paper on your driveway, etc. So yeah, that was a little distracting for me, but I'm kind of accustomed to it, but it was frustrating. But anyway, thank you so much for watching it. YouTube demonetized it, unfortunately, so it's almost 2 hours long, and even though I asked them to do a manual review of it, they said that it's not suitable for their advertisers. But I can keep it on the channel. It's just not suitable for advertising revenue, which is really frustrating because it is 2 hours long and people are watching it. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that information too. So I received an email, thanking me for doing the interview and stuff, and I'm going to share some of it. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. She says, first I will say I learned of and from you on the Quora group under the name Targeted 501. I'm sure I commented on some of your posts there, and you probably saw some of mine too. And she started to talk about, all the nonsense that's going on Quora, and I agree. It just seems to be getting worse. Like, I've been getting, like, a lot of bizarre direct messages on Quora from people, like, rambling on and on and on, and then being accusatory and stuff. So they're displaying a lot of perpetrator behavior. So she goes on to say, anyway, I am from here in Arkansas, but married an Army sergeant in 2006 and lived the Army wife life until he allegedly retired in 2017-ish. But I don't think he really retired until after we separated in 2018 at some point. We lived on bases in Texas and Missouri, and he finished out his career in a reserve unit in Aurora, Colorado. And Aurora, Colorado, if you've listened to the news and stuff, is where there's a lot of problems with the invaders. My problems didn't seem to start until after I met him. I didn't notice until after he moved out and I was alone in my home in Aurora. Then I noticed the invasions, damages, sabotages, etc. If you have others living in your home, it's difficult to realize because you figure it's others in the home that are breaking things and doing stuff. I will tell you my entire story later to keep this reasonably short, but I wanted to kind of properly introduce myself. My name is, I'm going to leave it blank because I asked for permission to use her name, and I'm not sure if she wants me to use her name. Okay, so my name is blank, and I'm 39 years old. They killed my mother and her parents with quote-unquote natural causes, of course, and gave my dad a stroke for trying to help me when they blew a tire on my van one day in the past couple of years. He is still alive, but I try to keep my distance so they will leave him alone. So I'm pretty much isolated even though I have relatives around. So, the mold. So we were discussing mold and black goo and all this other stuff about how it's done deliberately. And that's pretty much why she responded to one of my emails or something that I wrote about how it's been happening in my house. So she says, the mold. They have caused so many things to randomly mold here as well, as I have damaged seals in all of the doors and windows to cause what is probably legitimate mold as well. Just like the spiderwebs, they mix real and fake. The same way they make their lies effective, by mixing and manipulating truths with lies. I can have a junk drawer or plastic drawer, tote, storage, with a lid containing random stuff in a dry place. And even if the items are layered on top of one another, only one unlikely item, even made of metal or plastic like it's non-porous, will become overrun with mold. It won't spread to other items, even fabrics. Sometimes the item is fabric itself, and it can happen with any and all materials, but it doesn't occur as naturally occurring mold does. Then there's the rust and the holes as well. They try to make it look like it's moth or rat damage, and sometimes rats do damage things as they release many of them into this place, usually all at one time, and they will be all different ages and sizes, making it obvious that they were planted and didn't just move in. Sometimes, but other times, they make it obvious that it's intentional and human, or seemingly so, as I do believe there are demonic and earthbound souls involved as well. And then she writes in parentheses, including clothing damage that you have also spoken about. And yeah, I've got a lot of clothing damage. Like, I had a little bit of clothing damage in New Jersey. You know, like buttons would fall off, zippers would suddenly break or disappear. But I have an off-the-charts amount of damage to my clothing here. I mean, pretty much everything I own has been damaged by these criminals in one way or another. She says they also carve symbols and letters into my things in ways that are kind of hidden unless you get a flashlight and look from different angles. I have especially noticed a lot of capital letter A's and the number 4 characters about. It reminds me of the movie, quote-unquote, 13 Ghosts, where they have a machine disguised as a home that contains spirits by having symbols and spells written into all the walls, floors, and ceilings, preventing the ghosts from moving in or doing anything beyond these boundaries. If you